What up? Welcome to another episode of Coach's Corner podcast. I got a teammate of mine with the Rising Coaches DEI Alliance, Miss Kym Hampton. Welcome, Kym. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you? And thanks for having me.
Yeah, doing fabulous. Happy New Year! And it's New Year's Eve, so we're just kind of kicking it. We got the lights still going from Christmas for you today. So yeah, we just came to have a little fun, tell your story, and share your journey a little bit. So let's start out by just saying who is Kym Hampton. Now I am going to enlarge the screen, so don't get scared when I put it just you solo style. I know you're used to being on the stage, but I'm gonna hit this button. Don't get shy on me. But who is
Okay.
Kym Hampton?
Wow. Kym Hampton is a girl, a woman, a mom who is constantly evolving. Um, it started out as this young, shy girl growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, who was always taller than everyone. And, I think I had pretty much the same face. And I was just always bigger than everyone. And I couldn't understand it until I started playing organized sports, which was my freshman year of high school. And then I started to understand the benefits of having some height, the benefits of having some extra length to the arms, or just being incredibly gifted athletically. And then my life started to evolve. I never dreamed or fathomed I would, that basketball would take me as far as it did, because when I was in high school, the only sports that you saw on television for women was tennis and golf. So basketball was kind of like a guy's sport. And, just getting the opportunity to go to college and getting the opportunity to graduate from college, go to college for free, as a matter of fact, and then graduate from college, and then all the travels professionally was just a dream come true. And then even afterwards, being associated with the league, the WNBA, it just kind of helped me grow and evolve a little bit more into who I'm becoming. And I just realized that life is about evolution. I mean, the things that were important to me back in college and high school, I mean, I don't even think about now, but, I'm just enjoying the ride. I no longer play. That was something to get over. And, becoming a mom late in the game, and then just constantly trying to reinvent myself and do some of the things that I wanted to do as a kid. So, I mean, I feel like I wear a lot of different hats, but if I just had to say, I mean, I'm just, I'm a person I'm an honest person that really wants the best. I'm an optimistic person, and I really want the best for everyone. And, to me, those things are important. I can't hear you.
I know that's my fault. I was so excited. I wanted to make sure I didn't get in the way. I said, no, that was great. I'm getting to know you more and more, but all those things you said are 100% on point from what I know, and there's a whole bunch more. So we're gonna get to it. But tell us about the journey playing. Tell us about. You said you started playing kind of later in your career, ninth grade, and then you kind of realized there's a gift and talent, and God kind of blessed you with some enormous ability to do this thing called basketball, and then you went on to college and had a great career, and then you went on to the WNBA and had a great career. So talk a little bit about the basketball journey itself.
Yeah. Well, as a freshman, I didn't even want to play basketball, but one of my good friends kept begging me to play basketball. She's like, come on, Kim, we need somebody big to get rebounds. I'm like, what? My brother said, yeah, maybe you should. And the high school coach was asking me every day, are you going to try out for the basketball team? And so one day I just said, okay, yeah, I think it was about 3 or 4 days before the actual tryouts. And I said, yes, I would. And, who would have known that would have completely changed the trajectory of my life? I really had to start from scratch, just learning what 3 seconds was, learning the rules of the game, how to dribble, how to shoot. But my coach, the blessing was my coach was a left-hander and I'm left-handed. And he was a guard, so he was a jump shooter. So I was able to pick up the shot very quickly. And because I was an athlete, I was so athletic, I could grab the rim with 2 hands as a freshman in high school. And I was the quickest person on the team. And, I was 6 feet, with a 6'5" wingspan, and I mean, it was just crazy. So fast forwarding to my senior year, I was the top basketball player in the state of Kentucky because again, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I ended up winning the state championship in the shot put 3 of my 4 years of high school, and then just trying to decide where I wanted to go to school. And the crazy thing was, we have the University of Louisville and the University of Kentucky, but I just knew I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go away and see things. So I'm looking at letters. I mean, the letters that are coming in from everywhere, Old Dominion, Tennessee. I was getting a letter from Tennessee every day, and UCLA, USC. I wanted to just go somewhere far. I was even like courting, the University of Hawaii, and women's basketball wasn't big during that time, so we didn't see it on television, and I didn't know what school to go to. I didn't, know, and we didn't have the internet, so it wasn't like I could, okay, look it up and say, okay, what do I want to study? What do I want to do?
Right,
You know,
right,
yeah, I'm relying on the information, and the brochures and things that coaches are sending, but a lot of it was the calls, just getting to know the coaches that they would call. And I'm telling you, my parents, once they knew I wasn't going to stay home, they were like, my father was like, listen, you're going to have to make a decision, because coaches were calling from 7 to 11,
mm,
being, days. So it was just kind of crazy. So I decided that I was going to go to Arizona State University, and I don't even know why I chose that, but they always say that nothing happens by chance. And it was a true blessing that I went there, because my college coach, it was Julene Brzezinski Simpson, and she was the co-captain on the 76 Olympic team with Pat Head Summit.
mm.
And so I got an opportunity. It's so funny, I didn't go to Tennessee, but I got an opportunity to play with someone like her. And I learned so much. I mean, I learned about just mental toughness through her. I mean, it was hard. I wanted to leave 2 times because it was
I
that.
bet,
And
I
back in
bet.
the day, I'm sure you've heard stories like about, the tough coaches like Coach Summit, and all of those coaches, because they used to be able to get away with all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't even began to be able to get away with.
Right,
It wasn't like they abused us physically, but they were just able to push us a lot more, and stuff like that. So I'm glad I stuck it out, because I learned lessons like when you think you've given your all, when you think you have nothing left, when you're crying and you're down, there's always more. It's kind of like when a coach tells you, you have to run 10 suicides, and then they'll say, okay, you have one more. And they're like, I can't do it. They say, and if somebody showed up and said, I'll give you $1 million, I guarantee you everybody on that team will find it within themselves, to run that extra.
yep, yep,
So and just pushing through that, persevering, through all of that, it just helped me. I'm still to this day, after over 30 years, the all-time leading scorer and rebounder, male or female, in the history of Arizona State. I scored over
amazing.
23, over 2,300 points and over 1,400 rebounds. And but when I graduated from college, there was no professional basketball in America for women, so I knew that I was going to go abroad and play, because I got an opportunity to represent the USA, and so I knew that that option was there, and that's what I wanted to do, because I love traveling. So I was one of the Margaret Wade Trophy finalists my senior year. And for those of you that don't know what that is, the Margaret Wade Trophy is the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy, but it's for women's basketball.
Mm,
So I didn't win it that year, but I was in the room of the top 50 players in the nation. And I got a chance to meet an agent, Bruce Levy, who was placing players overseas. And so that's how I started playing overseas. My first 6 years, I actually played in Spain. And then I went from there. I went and played in Italy, and then from there, I played a season in Japan, and I also got a chance to play in France. And then they started the ABL, and I was approached by, some of the people that were starting the ABL, and I called my agent. I was like, listen, they're starting a league in America, and it's going to start right after the Olympics. He's like, no, 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 don't sign anything. Don't. I was like, well, why? I was like, I can make 6 figures and I can play both seasons, and he was like, no. He's like, you got to keep this under your hat. The NBA is going to start a league, and it's going to start the following season. I said, are you sure? He was like, yeah, I'm sure. So he's like, don't sign. So we were like, okay. So that's why you had half of the Olympic team went to the ABL and half of the other half,
wow,
because we knew that the NBA was going to start something, and it was going to be way bigger, and all of that. So just being a part, just sticking it out. And when the WNBA started, I was 35, you're turned 36, and just being a part, or just playing that long and being a part of the start, like me and Lisa Leslie, tipping off the first jump ball of the WNBA game of the
Amazing.
W. Yeah,
That's
and me
amazing.
scoring 2 points, yeah, for the New York Liberty in the history of the game. That was just amazing. I mean, it was just amazing to know that now I have a 16-year-old daughter who's an amazing player, student athlete in high school. She's a junior in high school. Just knowing that I could be a part of her history, that she knows that her mom was a part of WNBA history. I mean, for me, that is huge as well, and just to mentor the girls around all of that. So, and then so I've gotten a chance to do so many other things, because of that. So basketball, I mean, it's done so many things in my life that that's why I always say, when I'm a motivational speaker as well, and I always say that sports and athletics is more than just a game. I mean, it is transformative in your life. I mean, the good, the bad, the ugly. People get injuries. I mean, there's so many lessons in life through it all that just helps you to become a better person, or if you seek to find that silver lining. So it's just been an amazing ride.
I love it. I love it. I love the part too where you talked about your daughter. We'll talk a little bit about her in a little bit. But talk about the transition from post basketball. You talked about basketball and how it can be transformative, and you're now doing so many things. You touched on motivational speaking. I mentioned rising coaches, DEI Alliance Vice President for Women's Basketball, entertaining, modeling, singing. There's so many things. You're still involved with the Liberty, doing some things with WNBA. So just talk about how hard the transition is, and maybe for everybody it's a little bit different, but as a person who's played since you were ninth grade, and you go all the way to that point, talk about that.
Yeah, so I'm from the ninth grade. That was 13 years, well, we'll just say 14 to 38. I stopped playing when I was 38. Yeah, that was just crazy. And it was difficult because I was going to retire in 99, but I had a surgery, a scope on my knee, and I recovered so fast and I was back in about 6 weeks, and I felt so good. My teammates talked me into playing another season because we had lost 2 championships to Houston. They're like, come on, Hamp, let's just go one more time. And I was like, well, okay, I feel good. Okay. And so I did it. But 3 days into training camp, I just had to, I came into training camp on that third day, and my knee was just swollen big time, and so I sat out for 7 days. We were doing therapy, all types of treatment, and it didn't go down. So I had to go and have another scope. It was kind of like an exploratory surgery just to find out what was going on. And that's when they saw that I had severely worn cartilage behind my kneecap. And so the doctor was kind of like, Kym, you're 38, you're going to be 39. Like, how much longer are you going to play? He said, I can have you back in 6 or 7 weeks, but the same thing is going to happen because a WNBA season is like a regular 8-month season thrown into about 4 months, and so, it was just hard. I had to make that decision. And so I was like, gosh, I have to stop playing now. And when I tell you, it was the hardest thing that I think I ever had to do, because now, mind you, the WNBA, I mean, we were A-listers. I mean, we had celebrities reaching out to us. I mean, it was just amazing. So you're going from being an A-lister to now you kind of feel like, God, an average person, and I don't mean that in a bad way or anything,
Right,
but it's
right.
a hard pill to swallow. And plus the fact that so many players in my age group, my range, we had already graduated from college and we had been playing. I played 12. I think the WNBA started in the 11th season of my career, or 12th year, or something like that. So we didn't get an opportunity to build those relationships and to have those work opportunities in America, like maybe some of the college players coming out. So we were completely detached from what was going on in America. So it was like your days were planned. I always say that as athletes, and if you're
Right,
playing,
right.
your days are planned. You know exactly what you're doing. You always have somewhere to be. There's practice. The bus leaves at this time. We have meetings. We have whatever. here I am, I just had a surgery. So all I had to do was just go to the hospital, get my treatment and my therapy, but the rest of the day was mine. So what was I going to do?
Right.
I didn't, I felt isolated because all of the girls were busy. They were traveling, and it was, oh my goodness, it was hard. It was completely hard. So I always say that I feel like I was a functioning depressed person,
Mm.
smiling, and no one would have ever known, but I just felt shell shocked, like, what am I going to do with my life? So it was very, 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 very difficult, and I'm still figuring things out. I'm still, and it's one thing, and this is another thing that you have to understand that was made it so tough. So as being in the league, and the league sending you out to do appearances or to speak to schools, or contacting organizations and schools on your behalf, and they're sending you out, is one thing, and you feel confident because they're backing you. But when you have to start soliciting these speaking engagements and other opportunities, these yourself, it's kind of like, whoa, and I no longer play, and all of this stuff starts to sink into your head. You're like, wow, do they still want me? I mean, so it was, it's just, oh, it is, and it was tough. So that's why I always say, if I get an opportunity to speak to current players, I always talk to them about making sure you know what you want to do to start building relationships. Maybe if you're not playing overseas, or you don't want to, or just at some point that you would get an opportunity to maybe intern for a company, but building relationships so that your transition out of the sport can be a smooth one.
Yeah, and not on the same scale, but for college athletes, they still play majority of their life. But you add another 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 years of a pro career. I mean, you've
Mhm.
played since you're in ninth grade, and so much of your identity and how people see you as, oh, that's a basketball player, and you get
Mhm.
used to so many people cheering for you. Like you said, you're used to that routine, that schedule. You're used to having teammates. I think that's a big part to kind of
Mhm.
break away from. So all those things really challenging. So let's talk about parenting now. Now you are a mother. I have
Yeah.
two daughters myself, one on the way, and definitely love the idea of them being able to learn about your story and people like you who could have so much success but also care about people, still have humility, still are kind
Mhm.
to others, still. So yeah, you're a role model. I know you know that, but I'm saying that now, and when you instill things in your own daughter, what has that process been like? Not only as a former athlete and you're helping her athletically, but just in life, period, as empowering as you want to be to empower her in this new generation almost of women's empowerment that is far different than when you came up, like you said. So, talk a little bit about the mom role and then touch a little bit on women's empowerment. And I'll ask you one more about that after.
Okay. Um, yeah, it's different. It's really different. The things that the kids focus on, what's important to them. Of course, as an adult, I'm kind of looking like, okay, why now? Why do I have to buy you some why are we talking about you wanting McQueens? I forgot, or a goose, or goose knuckles, or whatever the heck. I can't even name some of the stuff that these kids ask for. But and then you have the whole social media thing, and my
Yes.
whole plot, or plight, shall I say, with her, is to help her to understand that your value, your esteem, your self-worth, it shouldn't be attached to the opinions of people on social media. It shouldn't be attached to what you're wearing, or the latest, having the latest gadgets, or wearing the latest sneakers and things like that. Because some kids lose their soul in all of this. They feel like they're, a zero if they don't have this stuff. And so, I've never been the one to go out and to buy that stuff. And and like I said, because we grew up middle class. I mean, we always got bikes for Christmas and things. We never wanted for anything, but our parents weren't going to go out and buy some crazy stuff that we may have asked for if it just didn't make sense. They were practical as well. And so I really want to instill that in her, that there's so many other things that you can do. Why don't you save your money? And I always talk to her about, if you got money for your birthday, and she's a 4th of July baby, if you got money on your birthday, save it for something. That's the New York here. uh, save it for something that save it for something that's important, something that you want and you really, really want. Like, she bought these Balenciaga shoes. They were 5 and some change, and they light up and do all of this stuff. And I'm like, they look like a big, they look so ugly. Like I said, if they didn't have the name Balenciaga on those, if they
You
had
wouldn't have
PF,
wanted them.
you wouldn't have wanted those. And I'm just
Yeah.
saying, what? Look at that. But I'm just saying, because of that name brand. So it's it's kind of tough. And then also getting her again, like I said, she's a great student athlete. I mean, she can go, and trying to get her to understand the importance of stretching, the importance of nutritionally taking care of your body, the importance of doing things right the first time, the importance of so much, because kids, I mean, and I mean, it's normal. We didn't want to work when we were kids either, but
Right.
I
Right.
just, you have a mom that went so far and played. So yeah, I should have something that resonates with you. You would think, no, she's just like, Mom, why does everything have to be a lecture? And all of her friends are like, shut up, you're mean. What are you saying, Miss Kim? And they're ready to eat it up. But, I guess when you grow up sitting courtside at games, ever since you were a baby, and you have all of these aunts, auntie, and that play in the WNBA and the NBA. And I guess
Right.
it's, have a tendency to take things for granted. So it's challenging, shall I say.
It's definitely too. I think for parents, and I've found this on the other side as a coach, where it's not so much the message, it's the messenger, right?
Mm,
So it's not even so much the parent can say the same thing, and they would get to a point where they would call and be like, "Coach, can you just tell them this, this, and this? Because if it comes from you, then they'll listen." So it's just kind of unfortunate, but as parents, you kind of always the kid always wants to drown out. Oh, that's his mom talking. Oh, here mom goes. Oh, here dad goes again. And I'm sure my girls, I hope not, but I'm sure they're gonna be the exact same way. So I'm already having to figure out. I'm already having to figure out. Grandma, can you tell her this? Let's be a village here and raise this child, because it definitely takes that. I'm curious before we go to the next half of kind of what we're doing here. If you can tell us a funny story anywhere along the way, whether it's playing, parenting. Normally, parenting has funny coaches, but I mean funny stories. But you may have something from when you were a kid, or from when you played, or whatever it may be. So share us one quick funny story before we get to the rest.
okay. Um,
And I know you got a bunch, and it has to be era appropriate, of course.
all right. Let me whisper this to you because she might. um, no, when we were kids, we were pretty mischievous in school, and I remember this is one, I remember my science class in particular. Our science teacher got cancer, and so he missed a lot of school, and so we went through this barrage of substitute teachers. And so we got this one substitute teacher that was really mean. He was really strict, and he carried himself in a really dignified, elitist way. And and we could not stand him. I mean, he made us work. He made us do all of this. I mean, the school, we were just like, oh my goodness. So one day, me and probably about 3 other kids, we decided we were going to put a tack in his chair. So we put a tack in his chair, and he was talking and writing something on the board and everything, and then he came and he put his foot in the chair and leaned on his knee. So the tack, he stepped on the tack, and he didn't know it, and so we were like, darn. So the next day, we decided, okay, we're going to put 2 in just in case he does the same thing. So, so we put one on one side, one on the other side, right? So he sat down this particular day, and he sat on both of them. And as soon as he sat down and it hit him, he done like his, And then he got up, and we were all just did everything losing it. And we were just like, and he said, when you look up, you always see a guilty crowd. Yeah, we're pretty bad. We used to throw our science books out the window, and when the teacher would pass out the books, we'd be like, "Well, we don't have a book, so we can't read," and stuff. We were bad. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. So it's funny now as parents because I find myself, my daughter's 3, my oldest.
Okay.
She doesn't act like she's 12 in the sense of like thinking she's grown, but her thinking is way far past 3, right? So
Okay.
she's almost 4, but she's a sharp kid and she's a problem solver. So when I see her doing stuff, whether it's jumping on the couch or hey, so like the new thing now is, so we're at my mom's house and she's staying in the room with my youngest daughter who's a year and a half. So now they're getting close, like where they're friends and they're best friends and they hang out and want to play. So instead of staying asleep, my wife's like, "Hey, stay asleep. So when you wake up, just come straight in our room. Don't wake up your sister." Well, she wakes up her sister, and then now they're trying to roam through the house and playing, and then we hear something happen.
I'm making
So
breakfast.
it's like exactly you hear the TV on downstairs. Like, wait a minute. So instead of getting mad or getting frustrated, it's like, I mean, I probably did some stuff like that too. So I'm sure you probably can relate with as you're raising your daughter.
Yeah. Well, I stopped. I stopped at 1. I mean, I had her so late, but I stopped at 1. But I could only imagine what that's like.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah.
and we got one more. So I'm gonna have many more stories for you. So if
Yeah.
you talk about kind of women's empowerment, we have a new vice president, our first female vice president who happens to be a minority. We have just last night actually, Becky Hammond was the first, from what they say, first situational head coach in a game because Popovich got kicked out or whatever happened with Popovich. We have the first NFL assistant coach as a female. She's in the Super Bowl last year with the 49ers. So we have this kind of movement of a new charge for women. So I think just kind of not so much only for your daughter, but in general, what is your thoughts kind of this kind of movement and this era of women's empowerment and how do you hope to see it continue to evolve?
Yeah, I feel extremely proud as a woman. It's not that women couldn't do it, but I feel proud of our nation. I feel that it's finally time that people look at the injustices, look at the uh, what do you call it, the disparity that has gone on for not only women but people of color and everything. So I feel really proud that organizations are giving people, and especially women, people of color, people the opportunity to shine in who they are. I mean, you can find talent everywhere in every race of people, every color of people, and
Absolutely.
why not women? You have when I listen to this stat. Back in 1974, back in 1974, 90% or the head coaching jobs in the NCAA, I think women had 90% of those jobs. And then in, what was it, 2019, only 42%, are headed up by women. And so that means all of these men that have had, all of these opportunities, all of these years to coach, now they've taken over the women's game. I mean, you look in the
Right.
WNBA, men coaches there are, you look in the NCAA, and it's just crazy how the people that, and it's so true, the people that hire people, the people that get these jobs and these positions, like the ADs and the presidents, and they get a chance to hire people, they hire people that look like them. And so I just feel really proud that we are making a conscious effort as a people to really see people for who they are, bar color, bar
Right.
sex, everything. So I
Right.
feel so proud, and especially because Becky Hammond was my teammate, so I really
Right.
proud of her. And then you have my other teammate, Teresa Weatherspoon, who is now an assistant coach with the Pelicans. And so I feel completely proud of just the opportunities we are finally getting as women and people of color.
Right. You may be getting that call next.
Hmm?
You talked about your teammates. You may be getting that call next. You gonna jump into the coaching thing? What do you think?
Oh no, I've never.
Nah.
Oh
that's
no.
that's not everybody has a different calling. So part of your impact in coaching, let's talk about rising coaches. Let's talk about empowerment. Let's talk about diversity. So the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Alliance, and you are the
Mhm.
vice president of women's basketball. I happen to be the vice president of men's basketball, so I get asked the questions all the time. Well, what is it? What do you guys do? More so than what is it? What made you want to join Rising Coaches in this DEI Alliance and take this role for women's basketball? And what do you hope to accomplish there?
Well, the executive director, Daryl Jacobs, twisted my arm and made me no, no. But he reached out to me and um, asked if I would be interested in that position. China Jude. She reached out to him, and I thought that I might be a good candidate for the position. And I thought about it and I tossed it and turned it because I felt like at first, gosh, what can I bring to the table? I really have only had one opportunity to coach. And that's what really solidified the fact that I don't want to coach. But
Right, you were smart.
no, so I felt like a fish out of water. I kind of felt like, well, what are these coaches gonna feel like? I don't know. So anyway, I said, Kym, it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to advance your skill set in a different area. So I said, okay, I'll do it. But what this organization sets out to do is to bring awareness of the disparities and first of all, the rising coaches. I mean, it has over what 1,300 members now, or something
Right,
like that,
right.
and which who are predominantly white, correct?
I believe that is correct. Yes, that is correct.
And so I think a part of the change that Rise and Coaches is trying to make, it starts with information. It
Yep,
starts with awareness. And so
yep,
shout out to Rise and Coaches and Adam Gordon and all of
absolutely.
there that they at least see that, listen, we have this platform. This is a major platform here, over 1,300 coaches. We can have some impact.
Right,
And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring awareness. They're trying to let coaches, like white coaches, understand what it's been like for coaches of color who have never gotten certain opportunities that are just normal for them. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to create initiatives to help better prepare coaches of color, or just
right,
minority, shall I say, minority coaches, just all types of initiatives, and just trying to put them in a better place to provide better opportunities moving
right.
forward in the coaching. So that's what it looks like. And did I leave anything out? Because I know you can follow me up. And
No, no, no. You covered it well. I mean, I was just going to ask, what do you hope to accomplish? But I think within what you're talking about, it's so important to, we're aligned with other organizations to empower. It's not just about rising coaches, and that's what I love about what Daryl and Adam have led with the alliance, and that is we're aligned with 10, 12 other organizations that are made up of coaches of different
Mhm.
demographics. So it's not just about, as you said, not just about of color, but also the equity part of women and just giving people that are in a minority position. We have a Jewish coaches organization we partner with. We have a
Latino.
Latino. We have I'm drawing a blank. I got so many Black Coaches Association,
Yeah, just I mean,
women of color. We have
yeah.
Coaches for Change, who is a diverse group that just wants to create change, and it's a combination of Black, white, Hispanic, whoever. So and there's others, but it's it's powerful in the fact that we're aligned with other groups to make change and not just trying to do it on our own. So I love that you're a part of it because then I get to be teammates with you and
Mhm.
throw a couple lobs and a couple bounce passes and get me some more assists
Yup.
from the record breaker herself. Let's talk about just personal now. Let's talk about 2020 What's one thing you want to leave behind? We're kind of wrapping up here. What's one thing you want to leave behind in 2020? What's one thing that you're hoping? I'm gonna do two at once. What's one thing that you're hoping, or a mantra that you're looking at for 2021, or a theme, or a goal, or just something that you're hoping does happen in 2021? So leaving behind backwards, going forward. What are you looking forward to?
Leaving behind fear and doubt,
Amen.
and moving into the new year with expanded possibilities. Just being able to mentally step outside of my comfort zone and to challenge myself to do more, to be more. I always consider myself as technologically, geez, I couldn't even get that out, technologically challenged. And so now it's just about taking time to understand something, or just speaking to someone who can better explain things, and just a lot of things. Like sometimes, I want to put something together or do something, and I just don't want to read the instructions. And so I think just being more patient and learning more, things like that. Again, stepping outside of my comfort zone to push myself to grow. This was one of the things, like being a part of this DI Alliance, was pushing myself to do something completely different, something that I didn't feel comfortable doing.
Right. Right.
So I look forward to doing more of that, just growing who Kym Hampton is in ways outside of the things that I do well.
I love that, and that goes all the way back to what you said. That transition of getting done playing and getting used to new things. And you talked about still being in that transition. That's awesome of you to have that open heart and that growth mindset still. Some people have a growth mindset when it has to happen, but you're actually seeking it and being intentional to go get it. So I love it. 2021 is going to be a big year. Before I ask you legacy question last, what's something that you hope to see even more when it comes to the respect level, or the opportunity levels, or just the continuing on that women's empowerment kind of theme? What do you hope for 2021 that you hope to see more of? That maybe we're trending upward, and you kind of hope we don't flatline or go back the other way. What's something that you would say, if you had to sum it up in one word or even a phrase or whatever it may be, that you hope to continue to see for on the women's side of respect level and opportunities?
Um, that would be consciousness, more
Mm,
consciousness, more awareness.
mm, mm,
Us waking up. Um, in this whole, when you look at 2020, you could point out so many things that went wrong. The whole COVID-19 thing. Um, you can point out all of the civil unrest, and Black Lives Matter was the big slogan. And I truly believe that if Black Lives Matter, then we as Black people have to be more and do more. And I think that's about raising our consciousness, knowing that if you're going to school, you have to go to school and ball out in your classes, not worrying about
mm,
so
mm,
intentional about wearing $10,000 worth of gear and then not learning anything. And then you get out of school, and
mm,
now who's going to fund that? You're going to turn into a life of crime. I mean, it's about, understanding and waking up that black on black crime that's not okay. We have to be better when we talk about our health. I mean, COVID hit us harder than anyone because we probably have more diabetes, more high blood pressure, more all of these things. So that means being more conscious about what we put into our bodies, what we eat, being more conscious about the music we listen to, being more conscious about everything. So for that reason, I just said, if Black lives truly matter, we have to be better and do better, as African American people. So for me, just moving forward, I just more consciousness, more awareness, awareness of ourselves, but just awareness in overall.
it's good. It's good. I won't even follow that one up. That's good. So yeah, we end that with legacy. If you had to say what you would want your legacy to be, or people to perceive and know what you would want your legacy to be. And as I talk about legacy, I got my two little ones coming in the room, so they may take over. They may take over the interview. I don't know. Speaking of, but what would you say, legacy wise? What would you say you would want to for people to know that you want your legacy to be?
Um, it would be that my light shines so brightly that it helps others to do the same. Um, that I could say something or do something or write something or be something that would inspire people to be their best selves.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna let my special guest say hello. You want to say
And
hi?
introduce the baby. Hi, baby.
Say hi.
We're
We gotta
we're
change. We gotta
matching.
change this one's diaper. You got the red and red.
We're
Janaya, you want to say
matching.
hi?
Hi, baby.
Just say hi.
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I love Kym Hampton. I'm such a fan. I appreciate your style and your grace and your respect and your humility, your heart, and how much fun you're able to have, and such a brilliant mind as well. But never taking things too serious, but always having a feel for the room and considering everybody in decisions that we make and that we talk about in meetings. And I just have such a respect level and appreciation. So I'm excited to keep working with you. I'm excited to see the things 2021 you continue to grow, and I wanted more people to see your light. So I'll let you have any last words you have, and then let you roll into getting ready for your new year.
Yeah. I think you've covered it all. And I appreciate you. I appreciate Daryl and Adam and all of you guys, your patience with me and helping me to grow. I just hope that I can, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to speak into existence.
There we
I
go. There we go.
forward, I look forward to being a bright spot for the women who are a part of this alliance or the women who take part in this alliance. I mean, everyone, but particularly the women. And I'm looking forward to creating initiatives and just really listening to what it is that they need, and for us as a team to collectively come up with things to just help make this alliance all it can be, and just something that is a bright spot for all of the coaches that want to take part in it. So I'm grateful for, like I said, all of you guys, and especially you. I can call you up or text you and say, hey, can you give me this information? And you're right there. Well, I
Always.
really appreciate you too, and thank you so very much. So I'm praying you and family are safe, and that your wife would have a smooth and wonderful delivery and everything. So
Yeah, all of that good stuff. And I'll say this for not just the alliance and having two little girls and one on the way. You are definitely a model, and you shine light for many others, not just your daughter and my daughters, but many other women. So I hope that this can spark some light and some other women that may listen to this or see this as well. So thanks so much again. Keep doing big things. Keep speaking into existence. And 2021 is going to be one of the best ones yet.
yes, sir. All
Okay.
right.
Thanks,
Happy
Kim.
New Year, everybody.